Hey, in today's video, I'm going to talk through my current favourite player from each Premier League club. So do subscribe for more content like this and enjoy the video. Let's get started. I think we should start with my club, Newcastle United, and I would like to go with the mainstay actually, like our skipper Jamal Lascelles or even Matt Ritchie, because they're loyal servants of the club and they have certain qualities that I'm proud to have them represent my club. But saying that, I can't really ignore Callum Wilson, can I? And the positive impact he's made on our attacking football. I really was at my wit's end last season. So much money spent on Joel Linton. He evidently needs more time. Andy Carroll was plagued with injuries. He wasn't a reliable option up front, and he still isn't, to be honest. Jonjo Shelvey was our highest goal scorer with 6 goals. And we're now 3.5 months into the season, and Callum Wilson has already scored 8. And he's contributed to goals too. I think given our issues with our style of play and our brand of football, constant tactical criticism week in, week out due to our inconsistent displays, Callum Wilson has still managed to find the back of the net. I think whenever you sit there and ask yourself, where would our team be without you? It means something. The immediate impact he's made to our side makes it an easy choice. He's my favourite, but have to say, honourable mention to Carl Darlow too. Just the way he's stepped up to cover injured Martin Dubravka, it's been outstanding. Crucial saves every single week. But yeah, if I'm choosing just one favourite, then it would have to be Callum Wilson. I'm going to try and do this alphabetical order. So next up, Arsenal, and obviously my first reaction is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and no doubt he's one of the best finishers in football. He shared the golden boot last season with Mane and Salah, right? And I mean, he's Arsenal's star striker, but there's just been so much criticism in recent weeks for his lack of goals. I think he's only on 3 goals so far this season, and then that own goal against Burnley last week was a real low point. Aside from this, he's just not contributing a lot right now, and I know there's a lot going on at Arsenal at the moment. The pressure is really high. They've not won any of their last 7 games, and the spotlight is on Arteta and how he's going to go about things to just salvage something for the Gunners this season. So I'm actually going to go for an Arsenal player who is an exciting young talent and has been Arsenal's arguably their best performer this season, and it's Gabriel Magalhaes, and I feel like he's Arsenal's best centre-back. He's made the most passes and interceptions as well, and there were some questions recently on his discipline. He got booked in the Southampton game, but he's young. I think it was just a small blip in the road, and I'm pretty sure he has a bright future ahead of him. If he carries on the way he's going, he could well be their player of the season. Also, did you guys see how Arsenal announced Gabriel's signing? They actually uploaded a Zoom call to their YouTube channel with Willian and David Luiz chatting, and then they got David Luiz to add Gabriel into the chat, into the Zoom call, and he was already wearing an Arsenal shirt, and we just saw glorious scenes of Brazilian brotherhood. And what actually stood out for me was David Luiz's character, and I realised from that how much of an influence his personality must have in the dressing room. He seems positive, encouraging, and authoritative at the same time, and I don't think every player has these kind of leadership qualities, but you can tell that David Luiz definitely does. Sort of like a big brother figure to the youngsters. I'm sure it adds a lot of value to the dynamic at Arsenal. So yeah, sorry, I digressed. But yeah, a special shout out to him for those attributes. But my Arsenal player is Gabriel. I've only done 2. I'm rambling too much. I'm taking too long. I'm going to keep this concise now. Next club, Brighton. Easy, Tariq Lamptey. Do you know he's actually the fastest player in Europe this season? I read yesterday that he clocked I think 36.6 kilometers per hour, which is madness. And he was crowned Brighton Player of the Year for 2020, deservedly so. He seems so important to their setup, his pace, his physicality, and his attacking threat. So yeah, I'd say he's definitely my favourite Seagull. Next up, Aston Villa, has to be Jack Grealish. Very predictable answer, but that guy is on another level, and I think everyone in English football can appreciate the value he brings to any side. Sam Allardyce, actually, he said last week that if he had a player like Jack Grealish in his West Brom side, they would survive relegation, and I don't doubt that. He just runs the show. He's provided 5 goals and 6 assists so far this season, and I know he's been tipped to join Man City or Liverpool in the future. And honestly, I would just love to see that. I think the more he grows as a player entering his prime years of excellence, the better it is for the England team as well. So yeah, Jack Grealish. Next up, Burnley. First player that comes to my mind is actually their goalkeeper, Nick Pope. I really think Gareth Southgate should seriously be considering Pope as his first choice goalkeeper, especially next summer with the Euros. I also think that Carl Darlow deserves an England call-up, but that is worthy of a whole nother video and I won't even get into that. So back to Nick Pope. I really think that he demonstrates consistency and quality with all of his saves, and I think last week in that game against Aston Villa, they made 27 shots and it still ended 0-0. I think he's a top keeper and a decent FPL asset as well, so he's my favourite at Burnley. Chelsea, so many good players. I'm gonna go with my gut. I could mention a young, exciting, emerging talent, but I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I'm gonna go for a 2-time Premier League winner instead, N'Golo Kante. Timo Werner actually, he made some really nice comments about Kante last week, I think it was, and he was asked how it is to play with the Blues, and he said that Kante is really something special and he stands out in real life. And he spoke about the kind of competitor he is in training, and he said that if you think he can't get the ball, he'll steal it from behind you. And I don't think you have to be a Chelsea fan to love Kante. His smile, you can just tell from his interviews that he's the type of player who just radiates positivity. And last summer when Chelsea would beat, Liverpool beat Chelsea in the Super Cup, and there was a close-up of Kante after the match, and I guess it was the first time I've ever seen him sad, and I just couldn't take it. It was a really painful sight. I don't ever want him to lose that infectious smile. So anyways, that's my favourite Chelsea player. Crystal Palace. I don't really have to think about this one too much. It's Wilfried Zaha, and I think he's a cut above the rest in terms of ability. I noticed he's also shifted to centre forward, and he's having a pretty impressive run so far this season with that change. He's already scored 7 goals. Not only does he cause problems in the final third, but I feel like this season it could be his most outstanding because of how he's thriving in this new central role. I think he tested positive for COVID, right? And he's still managing to power through, and he's building on his goal tally. No disrespect to Crystal Palace, but I sometimes think I'm just not sure he should have ever signed the new deal at Palace, if I'm honest. I kind of wonder what would have happened if he had stayed at Man United and sort of fought for his spot. Now Crystal Palace are reportedly sticking a £80 million price tag on him, and I think he's kind of stuck there. I mean, I'm talking like I'm his agent or something. I don't even know what his ambitions are, but if he does want to go further afield, I feel like Palace's they value him a lot more than anyone would want to pay. So he's sort of priced out of a move, if that makes sense. Anyways, he's my favourite Crystal Palace player. Next up, we'll go with Everton. I have to go with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, not just because he's been in my fantasy team since the start of the season, returning consistent points, but actually I have more reasons than that. I feel like he's been transformed by Ancelotti's arrival. What Ancelotti has done in a year is so impressive. It's crazy to think that him and Arteta at Arsenal, they came on board at the same time, and even with a huge break due to the pandemic, Ancelotti has still gone about his business with a genius transfer recruitment strategy. I mean, getting in James Rodriguez, Decore, Alan, he's clearly had an organised plan to add to that younger core of Everton with every new player he's brought in. And you can see there's a long-term vision there, and I'm sure he'll continue to strengthen the squad in January. We'll have to see what they do. I mean, they do have to get rid of some underperforming players, but he knows what he's doing, and Everton currently sit 4th in the league standings. For me, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been an integral part of their development. He really has, and if Ancelotti can guide Everton to a battle for a Champions League place, then DCL will definitely play a huge part in that effort. He scored 11 goals in 14 appearances, and I feel like goals alone don't even define his role in the setup. He demonstrates his skills at both ends of the pitch. And in October, when he was awarded with that England call-up, do you remember? He scored on debut. It doesn't get better than that. That was against Wales. I think it's DCL's year to shine and make a name for himself, and who better to guide you through that than the likes of managerial royalty like Carlo Ancelotti. So yeah, DCL has to be my favourite player at Everton. You know what? I'm going to stop there and I'm going to finish the remainder in a part 2. I'll probably film it tomorrow. So do you guys agree with my choices so far? Do let me know in the comment section below. Let's have a chat. If you enjoyed this, please like the video. Thanks a lot for watching. Do subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.